don't know if it's a good thing, but is it? Am I correct that the most intriguing battle right now in camp, other than Greenway, who looks like he's made the team, but if Greenway has made the team, then the most intriguing battle is it really the 7th defenseman spot? Is it like the only battle left?
Olofsson and Prosser.
Right.
Oof. And everybody in Minnesota wants Prosser to win that thing.
I know. I mean, Lonnie's Olofsson's biggest fan, so.
Yeah, hopefully. Was he part of the split squad deal tonight? Hopefully he didn't get on the bus to Dunedin when they were supposed to be playing in Jupiter.
All right, so that's the Wild for now. Wild season gets started in earnest in October, obviously, although it's another season where we get the start and then the 17 days off before game 2 or whatever, so that's always fun. But, okay, so let's get on to the sister kisser that Lonnie was in attendance for. First place, Lonnie, take us through the scene at Lambeau from a fan's perspective. Was that your first time there?
No, I actually, one of my good friends lives in Green Bay, and
why?
Yeah, is it work release or something?
Wow. Anyway, yeah, the love of his life had him put some roots down in Green Bay, and then that's where he's been. So yeah, we actually went last year, if you guys remember, Christmas Eve night, to the tune of like -10 wind chill, and that was an interesting experience. -10 wind chill with I don't even remember who was playing quarterback for him, but it certainly wasn't Aaron Rodgers. But yesterday it was just fantastic, and it is, I don't want to get too cliche about it or anything, but it is just so cool. It's in a, I don't know what the population is, but Green Bay is a relatively small town, and I mean, you drive through this, it's just like a small town neighborhood.
It's like St. Cloud, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And all of a sudden, there's Lambeau Field, just right there. It's really cool, and the neat thing is, and it is so true. I mean, that's like on game day, everything shuts down there. We in the morning we stopped at the grocery store in the morning. We were going to grab just a styrofoam cooler to throw some beverages in. And, grocery store closed on Sunday. Just not quite used to that, but it is really cool. And it must be like a family-oriented vibe that the Packers shoot for, and they pull it off so well. It's so family-friendly. I would have serious reservations about bringing my kids to a Viking game. I have not, and I would have real questions about doing that at this point. And my son's 14, and there isn't anything he would hear worse at a Vikings game that he hasn't heard his old man say. But it's really cool. There's just all sorts of activity around the stadium, and holy cow, are the people nice there? Even the Packers fans. It's like, it's kind of ironic, but in both of my trips to Green Bay, I've been encountered incredibly nice people from Wisconsin, and almost without exception, all the obnoxious drunks have been from Minnesota. It's awesome. Again, as cliche and corny as it sounds, that is football Americana. And I cannot recommend if anybody gets the chance to make the trek, it's just wonderful.
Okay, so let's talk about the game itself, boys. It sounded to me like both teams said that it felt like a loss, which I guess is good. But here's my main thing, and we can talk about how and then what they've done as a result of it after this. But if you're a Super Bowl contender and you have to play the Packers twice, and Aaron Rodgers most likely twice in every season, and you get a gift, by not having to go to Lambeau in December when it's 10 degrees below zero wind chill, and then 2, you got your foot on their neck with a 35-yard chip shot field goal to win it in overtime, and you don't come away with a win. That is a massively lost opportunity, is it not?
Yeah, it's a big lost opportunity, but I mean, for them to even be there took some heroics. Like they played like trash the first 3 quarters of that. Green Bay played about as good as they could play, and the Vikings still came back on this thing and had a chance to win it. Like, I don't know. I guess if I'm Green Bay, I look at it more as an opportunity loss because now they have to win at U.S. Bank. And I don't know the records off the top of my head, but I don't think Rodgers has beat Zimmer in Minnesota since Zimmer's been here, has he?
I have no idea.
I don't know that either.
I
probably only played him a couple times because he was out all last year.
Right. That's a good point. But I don't see. I think it's a bigger missed opportunity for the Packers than it is the Vikings.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to
lose. If the Vikings lose in Green Bay, it's like, okay, you lost a road game, big deal. Like, you're going to lose road games in the NFL. Let's just beat them at home. But now they get a gift of a tie after playing like trash for 3 quarters. I don't know.
See, I'm just saying that you should. I mean, obviously the odds are against you on the road in the NFL as they should be, right? So if you have a chance to sneak one out, which would and then you hold serve at home when you play them in Minneapolis, that in and of itself probably guarantees the division if everything else goes as planned for both sides.
But doesn't a tie do that too?
Only if we win in Minneapolis,
right?
But again, you should. But now you have to say if we do. Like if you had that in your back pocket, the worst you can come out with it. So I don't know. I just If you were that close to lose is it's just not good. That's just not okay for both teams. Like, I'm not saying I agree with you guys. I think that it hurts probably maybe even more for the Packers.
Yeah, it was a strange game from the standpoint of, I mean, there was just so much symmetry in the game. Both teams were affected by some goofy penalty calls.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams had chances to win the game,
mm-hmm.
and both teams came away feeling, and by the same token, both teams got let off the hook
mm-hmm.
from a loss. But I think if you asked both teams, I think they both kind of felt, there's some ties that can feel like wins. I think both teams came away with this one more of the feeling that it was like a loss. And walking out of the stadium after the game was really weird because everybody was just kind of looking at each other like,
now what the hell do we do?
Yeah, what are you going to chirp about? I got nothing. What do you got? That's good. We'll see you when you guys come to Minneapolis.
Claymaker's whiny little haircut. Gee, Merry Christmas, that guy.
Well, so that's the other thing. So that you're talking about symmetry, and there was symmetry there too. I mean, the call on Kendricks and the call on Matthews, those are ridiculous. Like, neither of those should be a penalty, in my opinion.
How about the NFL doubling down today? Did you hear that?
No.
They called them both legit penalties because they picked the quarterback up by his legs, and they used the word burped him into the ground.
Burped?
Yeah, they called it burping. So, like, literally, like, you can't make it up. Like, they doubled down on it. And then they call this move burping. And it's like, what
burping?
Are you guys talking about? And they said it's because they picked his legs up and, like, kind of flipped their body and slammed him into the ground. And it's like, you've lost your minds. Like, you just you can't make it up.
Burping. Good Lord.
Seriously, look it up on Twitter. I think it was Florio or one of the national NFL guys.
It's just going to make me mad if I looked it up on Twitter.
Yeah, it's incredible, like, that they doubled down on this, and they said they're going to use both hits, as an example this week in an email they send out to teams of what not to do when tackling the quarterback.
So
both of them are going to get sent to teams and to say, don't do this anymore.
So you can't bring a quarterback to the ground anymore.
Apparently. And then you look at the one play that Cousins kind of got let off the hook. He had Thielen wide open deep.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember seeing it. Well, they're one of their ends wrapped him up and then lets go of him.
Right.
And Cousins gets away, and I think he ends up getting sacked or thrown an incomplete pass or something. But the guy had him wrapped up and let go of him because he wasn't supposedly didn't think he could bring him down without getting a penalty.
But I mean, that's not football,
right?
Now look, I mean, it's a tough call for me because the rampant injuries I think takes a lot away from the game, right? So, but it's still a contact game. I mean, you know, every time they talk about doing something that the purists think equates to taking checking or hitting out of hockey, right? Like we freak out because it's a contact sport, and they end up saying, yeah, you're right. You know, we don't want to take the hitting out of it. And then the old school guys like the Bill Guerins of the world, like, well, it is a contact sport, and we got to be careful of that. But that's what they're doing in football. They're actually doing that.
It's incredible. Yeah.
There's no way you can ask the greatest athletes in the world to, I mean, things happen so fast out there. There's no way you can ask them to think. I mean, they just have to react and play on instinct.
Well, there's that, and then there's dumbass Sendejo, who all he does is he flies around like the Jon Favreau character in The Replacements, just trying to kill somebody, with absolutely no regard for actual football impact. The only impact he's looking for is to knock somebody's head off their shoulders, literally, and then 95% of the time he misses completely and ends up behind the play. That guy's an idiot. That guy is such an idiot.
I agree 1,000%. What do you guys think of this? So College Rule has it where they go to the booth and look at it, and they can pick the flag up. So I think it was the Ohio State TCU game. TCU safety goes in Sendejo style, but leads with the shoulder, doesn't hit with the head, doesn't make contact with the head, shoulder on shoulder. Flag throws. They call it. Then they go to the booth, looked at it for a minute, said, oh, yeah, we got that one wrong. They picked the flag up. 4th down, Ohio State punts it away. Now, if they would have kept the penalty, the kid gets ejected. And a 15-yard penalty.
But given what the NFL did today, as you pointed out, would they even change it?
That's valid, yeah. No, because burping.
Right, if they burps him, then he pukes on the little burp cloth, then he... This burping word has got me completely knotted up, by the way.
And here's the other piece of this. So as a Vikings fan, I get a big kick out of this because watching Rodgers whine and cry after getting touched every time makes me go, I don't feel bad for the Packers, you know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
At least Cousins said after the game, yeah, we got away with one there.
Yeah.
That's not a penalty, you know. Rodgers never says that.
Right.
And part of the reason that these rules are in place is because the Packers and Rodgers lobbied for an entire season about rules like this. Not this particular one, but rules like it. So there is some karma there, but...
And it's the Packers. That's the other reason.
And it's the Packers. It's just Carlson missed a stupid kick to make it really karma.
So you mentioned it. So he's gone now, and I don't want to pile on the young man, except we kind of need to pile on the young man in the sense that I don't care who you are. I really don't care who you are. It could be my own kid. If you're in the NFL as a place kicker and you miss 3 attempts, the last of which was a veritable slam dunk, chip shot, 35 or whatever yarder, you're done. You should not get another chance to come back and try again. You're done at that point, in my opinion. I'm sorry. And what I will give Spielman credit, because what he didn't do was what Fletcher had done for the last 4 or 5 years of his reign here, which would have been to double down on his draft pick and not be willing to admit a mistake in drafting him.